Calls for federal action as many Ontario hospitals and ICUs are overwhelmed.
We could imminently face a triage situation, and this could happen very quickly. We need to get ahead of this. We need to anticipate this.
This as the province ramps up vaccination efforts in hotspots. Plus,
and the government refuses to hold any of the police officers accountable.
Protesters rally after Ontario's police watchdog ruled there will be no criminal charges against police in the death of a 62-year-old. And
well, they look at it and they go, oh, I can't go down there, right? Even if they're on foot.
Toronto will be revamping hundreds of no exit signs that some walking advocates say are misleading for pedestrians.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Good evening, I'm Marivelle Tarouk. There are growing concerns over the situation facing Ontario's hospitals. 585 patients are in the ICU with COVID, a record high during the pandemic. With another 3,800 new cases today, doctors are warning more people will become seriously ill, adding pressure on the race to vaccinate. Loretta Redicop has the details.
It was first come, first served. 1,000 doses available, 5 times more than yesterday. A rare vaccination clinic in a hard-hit neighborhood open to any area residents 18 and up. One man says he got here at 5 a.m.
It's an amazing feeling. I could feel more alive, more free. I think they should kind of speed up the process a little bit so a lot more people have chances to be safe.
They want to avoid the horror described by doctors, with packed ICUs and more younger patients.
The healthcare system is literally on the verge of collapse.
Numbers show a big spike in COVID patients admitted to ICU yesterday. At Sick Kids, 5 of the 8 ICU beds available for adults with COVID are expected to be full. He wants a change in the definition of what's essential during this stay-at-home order.
There's a lot of construction, manufacturing, warehouse distribution that amounts to non-essential goods right now. And we need to close all of that and go to bare bones. We're not talking about closing everything forever. We're just talking about getting things under control because really the epidemic in Ontario right now is totally out of control.
Today, an urgent request from another ICU doctor.
We need to get ahead of this. We need to anticipate this, and provinces need to work together. And I think the federal government needs to get involved to help coordinate the transfer of healthcare worker resources from less affected provinces to more affected provinces, especially Ontario.
We asked the federal government about this plea. The health ministry didn't respond to it directly, but pointed to comments by the Prime Minister on Friday. He said that the government has been working with all provinces and territories to ensure they have the supports they need.
Late Friday, the province added 2 emergency orders, allowing hospitals to transfer patients elsewhere without their consent. Plus, non-hospital healthcare staff can be redeployed to hospitals.
I don't think we're at the point yet where we're talking about, deciding between a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old on a ventilator. I hopefully think we won't reach that point.
Dr. Fallis expects that given the rise in cases, ICU numbers could double just in the next few weeks. Loretta Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
Ontario politicians to get their shots, including Premier Doug Ford, who got his first dose of AstraZeneca yesterday. AstraZeneca has been approved for use in Canada for those 55 and older, but has been restricted for younger Canadians following reports of rare blood clots in Europe connected to the shot. Tory hopes his immunization will ease the worries of any hesitant Torontonians.
Any of the vaccines that have been approved, they wouldn't have been approved by Health Canada if they weren't safe and effective for people. What's really important is to get vaccinated. It doesn't matter which one. Just get a vaccination if you're eligible, and many people are. We want to keep signing them up, tens of thousands of people, because we want to get everybody vaccinated as soon as we can and get this nightmare over with.
So far in Toronto. As of this morning, the city says more than 220,000 people have booked appointments at clinics run by the city. which is an increase of over 50,000 since the vaccine eligibility was expanded just yesterday. The city says there are appointments still available, and eligible residents are encouraged to book theirs through the website or over the phone. The province today reported 3,813 new COVID-19 cases and 19 more deaths. Here's the breakdown by region. Toronto with just under 1,000 cases, Peel region with more than 600, over 400 cases in York region, Durham region with 281, and Ottawa Public Health reporting 325 new cases. That is a record for the city. A group of Torontonians is rallying together to help those affected by a volcano that erupted yesterday on the island of St. Vincent.
The predictions are that these eruptions are going to be worse than we had in 1979. Therefore means that with the people who have been displaced from their homes, their comforts, over 16,000 people, they will need food, they will need proper housing.
The La Soufrière volcano erupted after decades of inactivity, forcing thousands from surrounding villages to evacuate. Though it's been dormant since 1979, the volcano started showing signs of activity in December. Those signs picked up this week, prompting an evacuation of the surrounding area on Thursday. Early on Friday, it finally erupted, plunging the neighboring area into near total darkness from ash and smoke. Disaster relief group Global Medic is helping with emergency relief, but they say it will be hard to get aid to people in need.
Logistics are really difficult, right? We're sending some down by sea can, some are going to probably go down by plane into a neighboring island. Most planes can't come into a volcanic area, so we'll get access onto a boat and then come in. So logistics are tough, and the folks in St. Vincent right now, they need everyone's help.
Global Medic is sending a sea container full of aid, equipped with emergency kits to help displaced families. The kits include dried foods such as rice, lentils, and pasta. The group says this is just the start of the crisis, and they hope to reach as many people as they can. Here's Sophia with our first check of the weather. I mean, so what about spring? It felt like summer out there today.
We've just flashed forward to the calendar page there. Yeah, not bad. Who's complaining? What a gift today was, though. But my official message is to enjoy the present that it is, because the future is going to be changing awfully soon. But boy, summer-like temperatures, we're talking mid-20s, especially away from the lakes. Who had the bikes and the rollerblades and the shorts and t-shirts out? My advice, though, enjoy the next few hours because things are dropping and changing rather quickly. Okay, yeah, so mid-20s away from the lake. You were a little bit cooler around any of the lake shores. But I'm going to say it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type of weekend. Beautiful Saturday and much different Sunday, sort of the incoming looming pattern change. It'll be slow developing, though. No crazy roller coasters this upcoming work week. We are back to seasonal, and the next system, a Texas low, will be upon us overnight, morning, kind of all day Sunday. It's a bit of a washout, especially if you're in the western edge of the GTA. Overnight, it's in your backyard in the Windsor and southwestern Ontario, pre-dawn in the morning, and Sunday when you wake up, it's on your doorstep. Kind of a rainy, sloppy day all day for those of you in the GTA. We're talking upwards of 20 millimeters, especially if you're in the West End and around the Golden Horseshoe. You might get a dry slot for a couple hours in the afternoon if you want to take the dog for kind of a wet pause dog walk, if you're okay with that. And then you do cool down very gradually over the upcoming week. I'll tell you about where the next chances for rain will be in the long range.
Okay, we'll see you in a few. Thanks, Sophia.
Welcome.
Well, the signs say no exit, but walking advocates say no way. Hundreds of signs on city streets are about to be rewritten after crowdsourcing revealed the no exit signs are fine for drivers but can be misleading to pedestrians. The city wants people on foot to know those dead-end streets can actually lead to shortcuts, hidden walkways, and even parks. John Lancaster explains.
Well, they look at it and they go, oh, I can't go down there, right? Even if they're on foot.
Dylan Reed says no exit signs like this near Pape and Danforth often stop pedestrians and cyclists in their tracks. Many don't know the signs are targeted at drivers.
No, it's not a no exit. Actually, it leads to this path that links all the streets here, and it leads to this lovely park with a beautiful new playground, actually.
In many cases, no exit signs don't tell pedestrians they can lead to a shortcut, a park, or playground up ahead.
Ideally, it could say something like no exit for motor vehicles, and pedestrian exit to a certain location. But if that's too complicated, they could just have a sign that says pedestrians accepted or pedestrians and cyclists accepted.
But they don't. These 3 streets near Bloor and Jarvis all have no exit signs, but they don't let pedestrians or cyclists know it's not a dead end for them. And there are many more like this across Toronto. Hundreds more, according to mapmaker Sean Marshall.
I was surprised.
With the help of crowdsourcing, he built this map identifying about 460 streets in Toronto that are no exit for cars, but perfectly good shortcuts or past the green spaces for anyone on foot or 2 wheels. The map also breaks down how many are fully wheelchair accessible.
It's unlocking neighborhoods. It's unlocking these little shortcuts that pedestrians may not be aware of. It unlocks the city to everybody.
Councillor Paula Fletcher saw the map and brought a motion to make the signs clearer this week. It was successful. The signs won't be replaced, just updated with more information.
I think a no exit sign says to people, there's no getting through here. In the City of Toronto, no exit signs are about cars not getting through there. So we need to basically let pedestrians know, no problem, come on through.
Reid and Marshall hope it will lead to a working, walking network, a chance for more Torontonians to discover other parts of the city during this pandemic. John Lancaster, CBC News, Toronto.
The problem for Aaron O'Toole is that he's not interested in real solutions to real problems.
The 2021 Liberal Party virtual convention has come to a close, and the repeated theme was contrasting the party from the opposition Conservatives. Coming up, we'll have the details on that. Plus, The 2021 virtual Liberal Party convention has come to a close. It's likely to be the last one before the next federal election. And the repeated theme was contrasting the party from the opposition Conservatives. The CBC's David Cochran reports.
I can now officially call the 2021 Liberal National Convention to order.
An unconventional convention for unconventional times. Liberals gathering virtually to act politically.
What would we have seen if Erin O'Toole and the Conservatives were in power when the pandemic hit?
That theme persisted throughout, a relentless critique of the Conservatives' views on everything from climate change to pandemic spending.
We know that the Conservatives do have a price that they can put on lives.
It was largely an exercise in sharpening their pitch for the next election, with the Deputy Prime Minister dropping broad hints about the upcoming budget.
COVID has created a window of political opportunity and maybe an epiphany, as you put it, on the importance of early learning and childcare.
And a potential star candidate dropping subtle hints about his political future.
I'll do whatever I can to support the Liberal Party in our efforts to build a better future for Canadians.
There was nothing subtle about the Liberal leader's speech.
The problem for Erin O'Toole is that he's not interested in real solutions to real problems.
As Justin Trudeau painted his main rival as out of touch.
How disconnected do you have to be to flirt with disinformation on public health and vaccines while a deadly virus takes loved ones, friends, and neighbors? And how disconnected do you have to be to refuse to admit climate change is real?
It's all about drawing a sharp contrast before the next election, and with COVID cases surging, the most likely window for that is this fall, when vaccinations should be more widespread and life can hopefully start to return to normal. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tributes were held throughout London today to honor the passing of Prince Philip. This morning, alongside the River Thames, members of the British Armed Forces fired a 41-gun salute. CBC's Tessa Arcilia reports.
Gun salutes to pay tribute and honor a long life of service. Prince Charles paid his own personal tribute.
My family and I miss my father enormously. My dear papa was a very special person who, I think above all else, would have been amazed by the reaction and the touching things that have been said about him. And from that point of view, we are, my family, deeply grateful for all that.
Currently lying at rest in a private chapel at Windsor Castle, the Duke will be taken to his final resting place on Saturday in a specially modified Land Rover he helped design. A private funeral will be held for the royal family, no fuss, just as Prince Philip wanted, with a short procession and a national minute of silence. In line with COVID-19 rules, only up to 30 people will attend, including Prince Harry. Today, more tributes and acts of commemoration.
I brought yellow roses for friendship because I think that's what he exhibited to everyone who came into his world.
People continue to flock to Buckingham Palace to pay their respect to the Duke of Edinburgh. And as we continue to learn more about Prince Philip's life, we see a man who might have walked a few paces behind the Queen, stayed in the background, but he certainly left a mark in many people's lives.
Many noted his steadfast support to the Queen and service to the country through charities, including the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, which helps young people develop skills for life and work.
And my boys at home are doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award. So for all the people, I think, who sort of give the royals a bashing every now and then, I just think it's, have a look at the bigger picture.
Indeed, not everyone is gushing. This student from Northern Ireland is one of them.
I don't think the royal family are nice people. I think there'll be some people celebrating. I think there'll be some people mourning. There's quite a divide here.
He was famous for his off-the-cuff remarks, which some people have passed off as dry humor, but others have called offensive. The BBC said it had received complaints about too much wall-to-wall coverage of the death of Prince Philip and opened a dedicated complaints page. Tessa Arcilia, CBC News, London.
This was the scene just minutes ago in Mississauga, where Peel police have made several arrests in relation to a protest over the death of Ijaz Chowdhury. The 62-year-old was killed in an altercation with police, but a ruling this week by the province's police watchdog said the officers were not criminally responsible. Jessica Ng has more on the protest that took place despite a provincial stay-at-home order.
They need to be here with us. They need to be here fighting with us.
Protesters from the Malton People's Movement are moving to block the intersection of Goreway and Morningstar Drives. It's right outside of the apartment building where Ijaz Chowdhury was killed in a police-involved shooting last June. Police say he was in his Mississauga apartment and was a threat to himself. They broke down the balcony door and found Chowdhury wielding this knife. The senior suffered from schizophrenia and, according to a report looking into his death, was off his medication. An officer used a taser and shot at him with rubber bullets before a third officer discharged their weapon, shooting him twice in the chest. This week, the SIU said the officers involved were not criminally responsible for the senior's death. I believe the subject officer's resort to his firearm was objectively reasonable, necessary, and proportional to the threat posed by Mr. Chowdhury, notwithstanding the tragic loss of life it caused. Aruna Sharma was Chowdhury's neighbor for 2 decades and says she's angry with the police watchdog's decision regarding the death of her friend.
He has some problem, so it doesn't mean that police come and shot him. And he was not punished.
Shame!
The Malton People's Movement was created a month after Chowdhury's death, and they say there have been too many incidents of police violence.
From Clive Mensa, if we want to go back to November 2019, until Ijaz Chowdhury, the Peel police were on a killing spree, and they've now been cleared by the SIU. And so we're back out. We have no choice.
And that community support is growing.
We've seen the support grow because, we've seen some things being done.
As a result of this incident, Peel Police started a pilot project where officers trained with body cams. They say that officers will start wearing them on duty later this month, but that they need more partners when it comes to mental health issues.
And we need to work to find an alternative solution to how we can support those that are suffering a mental health crisis. And we'll continue to work with our partners and continue to advocate for that.
For some who have joined the cause who aren't from Canada, like Parmbier Gill, the issues that minorities and people of color are facing and confronting here are similar to what they've seen and experienced back home.
We're confronting that kind of violence back home. When we see it happen on our own streets here, we have a responsibility to stand up and fight against it.
Though those who knew Chowdhury say justice isn't enough. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Malton.
Well, if you've been outside, you know spring weather is taking hold across the city with temperatures hitting highs of 23 degrees this weekend. And Toronto residents are itching to get outdoors after being hunkered down amid the ongoing third wave of the pandemic. But with all of Ontario under a stay-at-home order, police are reminding residents that large gatherings are prohibited and put the broader community at risk.
We're going to start with educating, and then we're going to begin with our enforcement. On a daily basis, we understand that the weather's nice. We want individuals to go outside. We want them to partake in activities. Go to the park, get exercise in, then please return home. The stay-at-home order is in effect for 28 days. During those 28 days, it is important to lessen the strain on the medical system and also ensure the safety of individuals around you.
Well, Sophia, it sounds like our best chance this weekend is already gone by to get outside and get some sun.
It's still a couple hours until sunset if you want to get out and safely enjoy some distance, some outdoor activity, and some vitamin D. It'll be in short supply over the next coming week, Maribel. Hope you got a chance to get out and enjoy. Still about 12 degrees right now, sitting pretty this evening in the city of Toronto. But enjoy it while you can. Yes, we fall back down to earth. We fall back down to seasonal for this week ahead. It will be somewhat unsettled and with a downward temperature trend. Not the 3 things that I wanted to tell you about. This time of year, we should be around 9. We will be above that for Sunday. But with the rain, it's that onslaught of a new Texas low. It kind of ushers in this next pattern change that will be your reality for the next coming week. Hey, though, it's not a big roller coaster, right? It is fairly even keel, but it is just below seasonal. We drop by a few degrees over the next coming days. You really feel the chill on Tuesday. You won't need the parka this upcoming work week, but you also won't be able to put away the puffy jacket quite yet. I keep threatening to put away all the winter clothes. Not quite yet. It is still kind of chilly in the mornings over the next week or two as well, still, as it is with all shoulder seasons. Rainy day on Sunday, not bad on Monday. Again, you feel that chill on Tuesday. And then all throughout the week, you've got a few chances of showers. You may dodge the heavy rain here and there, but it is generally a really unsettled work week. You know, good for the flowers, though, for any of you gardeners like me out there. We hold that seasonal for the second half of the week, but it will be kind of rainy here and there and gray and cloudy with low pressure above us for much of the upcoming work week. Some of you could see upwards of 50 millimeters of rain when this week is all said and done. But hey, we really had a great week to look back on. So it was a gift this past week.
And we're headed in the right direction anyway, despite the rain. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome.
And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. Have yourselves a great night, and please stay safe.